You got him for abreast, often imitated, never duplicated, the greatest show under the world of outlaws.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome here to tonight's race as we go side by side with the Roaring Thunder Racing League Verizon IndyCar Series at Michigan International Speedway. I'm your commentator Sean Zulu, and behind the camera there's the mad scientist himself and my right-hand man, David Everly. How are you doing tonight, Dave?
Doing pretty good, Sean. How you doing there, buddy?
Oh, I am doing good too, thank you. Well, here tonight we have the pure Michigan 250, like I said, Michigan International Speedway, After having a heck of a race last week, the salute to the veterans, Indianapolis 250 at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. To tonight's race here, bumpy Michigan International with little to no banking. And Dave, what are we dealing with tonight? What are we dealing with?
Taking a look at tonight's weather. It's got 78-degree air temperature, hot track temperature of 104, partly cloudy, wind out of the north at 2 miles an hour.
And the drivers, as usual, do have a 75% fuel limit. That is 750%, giving us at least 2 required pit stops in order for the drivers to be able to make it the full length of the way, 125 laps. That is 125. That is a long race here tonight. A lot needs to be done, and these guys know that the most important thing to finishing a race is, first of all, staying alive. And at these speeds, these guys go over 230 miles an hour. That is nearly impossible to do, but these guys do an amazing job week after week. Just a recap from last week's race. Salute to veterans, Indianapolis 250. We had Robert Barras bring it home for his 6th win of the season. That is 6 wins by Robert Barras. A new driver, Shane Gross, came out 2nd. Charles Smith came out 3rd. Mark Kochik 4th. Steven Leffler 5th. Jeff Dodson 6th. Jim Whaley Jr. 7th. Caleb Thompson 8th. Art Peck 9th. Noah Lewis 10th. Mark McFadden 11th. Ronald Vincent 12th, Poe Cohen 13th, Keaton Bummersback 14th, and Justin Anderson in the 15th place spot. And that did round up the whole entire field last week at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Well, moving on to our point standings, our current season standings, Robert Barras still leading in points after winning the last 6 races, well, all races so far this season. Charles Smith 2nd place in points, Mark Kochik 3rd in points. Jeremy Horn, defending champion this season, last season's champion, is currently 4th in points. We have Jim Whaley Jr. 5th in points. Jeff Dodson 6th. Mark McFadden 7th. Steven Leffler 8th. Keaton Bummersback 9th. Ronald Vincent 10th. Poe Cohen 11th. Noah Lewis 12th. We have Shane Gross 13th. Art Peck 14th. Caleb Thompson 15th. Rick Mason 16th, Justin Anderson 17th, tied with John Morgan in points, and Kyle Nadeau, the last driver there in points, in the 18th place position. And ladies and gentlemen, this is the pure Michigan 250. That is the pure Michigan 250. This is round number 7 of the Roaring Thunder Racing League Verizon IndyCar Series, brought to you by the Roaring Thunder. And if you are new to the channel, welcome to the Dre Broadcasting Network. We are glad to have you all. And for all the existing and or returning viewers, welcome back to the Dre Broadcasting Network. We are glad to have every single one of you, new or old. And for all those interested in being a part of the action, check out the Roaring Thunder Racing League on iRacing, as they do have a lot of things that you guys can do. And Roaring Thunder Racing League, once again, that's Roaring Thunder Racing League on iRacing. On Saturday nights, they do run an IndyCar series at both ovals and road courses, alternating week after week. Well, it just depends on the schedule, but they do have some road courses and a lot of ovals to be run here with the IndyCar series. And at Tuesday nights, they run a Pro Mazda series, so it's pretty much open wheel all the way. And tonight's post sitter is the 13 of Charles Smith. Charles Smith being the post sitter here tonight. The 75 of Robert Barras 2nd. We have Steven Leffler 3rd. 3 of Jeff Dodson 4th. Mark McFadden 5th. Mark Kochik 6th. We have Jeremy Horn, defending champion. He was not there last week at Indianapolis, but he is back here tonight at Michigan, starting 7th. We have Ronald Vincent, that is Ronald Vincent 8th. Poe Cohen 9th. John Morgan 10th, Jim Whaley Jr. 11th, and Noah Lewis rounding up the whole entire field in the 12th place position. So here tonight we do have 12 drivers starting. Actually looks like Noah Lewis is not in the server, so that will give us 11 drivers if Noah Lewis does not return before the race is over tonight. It's a heck of a field we have here tonight. The Michigan International for the Pure Michigan 250. That's a Pure Michigan 250 here with the Roaring Thunder Racing League Verizon IndyCar Series. And the drivers here are starting to now roll out behind that pace car, 70 miles an hour pace speed. That is 70 mph. And Dave, after coming from a smooth track last week, or I should say a smoother track, Indianapolis, to a very, very bumpy track, these guys have to watch out or be very careful, Dave.
Yeah, most definitely so. I mean, they got to watch the draft here because that aero draft, it can push you into that outside wall.
Oh, yes, it can. I'm seeing a lot of things being taken into consideration. These things do draft way too well, very, very well. And with that said, that could be a good thing, that could be a bad thing. It just depends. And these drivers do have those push-to-pass buttons. So they will come in handy, or they do come into handy, especially on the road courses. But right now here, rolling out, being led by the post 013 of Charles Smith, going green this time by. And tonight will be second race for the 68 of John Morgan. John Morgan's second race with the Roaring Thunder Racing League IndyCar Series this season. Great to have John Morgan back, but going green here this time by Barris holding pace speed. Actually, Charles Smith holding that pace speed, and the leaders do have to, well, everybody has to go on green. The green flag does fly. Charles Smith does not get a good start. Well, Robert Barris got a better start than he did, and this is lap number 1 of the Pure Michigan 250 at Michigan International for the Roaring Thunder Racing League Verizon IndyCar Series, round number 7. And here already that we have the 3 of Jeff Dodson trying to make some moves against both the 75 of Robert Barris and 13 of Charles Smith. So far falls back in line behind 13 of Charles Smith. On the outside line, high and dry is the 75 of Robert Barris. But right behind them, 73, 72 of Stephen Leffler drafting off 75 of Barris on the outside line.
Yeah, Jeff Dodson running good there on the inside, but looks like Robert Barris, he's wanting to use that outside lane there. Dodson's just not able to clear him.
Yep, as we speak, these two drivers, both Dodson and Leffler. Oh, Leffler's machine did push up a little bit. He had to back it down. Oh man, it's opposite apron. That was almost ugly. That thing got squirrely on Jeff Dodson's part, but nice save by Dodson. But that still will cost him a lot of time, spots, and speed, and momentum at the exact same time. He goes from 3rd place to 5th place in 1 lap, and he's trying his best to hold off the 48 of Mark McFadden on the outside line. And right now, who's being approached by the 51 of Paul Cohen. Paul Cohen drafting off the 48 of Mark McFadden, and this time by working together for a common good, getting around the 3 of Jeff Dodson. But so far, they are on the outside line, the longer way around the track. That is costing them. Yep, and from the back here in this pack, the 33 of Mark Kochik is going to be taken by 37 of Ronald Vincent. Vincent's next victim now is the 3 of Jeff Dodson, and Jeff Dodson now bumped down to 7th place spot from the 5th place spot, dropping off both the 48 of McFadden and the 51 of Paul Cohen this time by, and Jeff trying to make the outside line work. And surprisingly enough there, Dave, these machines are handling quite well on the inside.
Yeah, I mean, these are the Indy cars, so they definitely got that traction, Sean.
Oh yes, they do, but as we see that, the 51 of Paul Cohen was struggling on the inside line there, on the exit of turn number 2. He had to back it down, and as a result, he went from 6th place to 7th place, as Jeff Dodson was able to benefit off him lifting. So it looks like the outside line just might be the place to be. These guys can hold it wide open without any problems whatsoever. And as we speak, runner 51 of Paul Cohen. Oh, contact between Paul Cohen and runner Vincent. Actually was very close, but no contact made. And both drivers keep this thing green and clean. Nicely done. And some drivers here approaching this party. We have Jim Whaley Jr., Mark Kochik here, coming very, very close to Paul Cohen, Jeff Dodson, Mark McFadden. The draft is very strong. The draft does keep these guys within in each other's sights. Basically, it does keep these guys, or I should say, it does promote a lot of pack racing. Oh man, Jim Whaley almost gets into the wall on the exit of turn 2, but no harm done. He is still going nice and strong. But Dave, this second pack here being led by Mark McFadden is about 2.6 seconds behind the leaders up front. With that said, they are way out of draft range. At the same time, they are trying their best to leapfrog to try and catch up to the leaders up front to help themselves once we have those upcoming green flag pit stops, because those do separate the men from the boys. But as we spoke right there, the leaders up front did gain a lot of time against the second pack. So basically, the second pack has to up their game before losing more time.
Yeah, I mean, right now, Charles Smith, he's sitting there in second. Jeremy Horn sitting there in third. But he's about 3/10 behind Charles Smith. So our front four, but they are pulled away. The front four is about 2.8 seconds behind, in front of Mark McFadden.
Speaking of Mark McFadden, almost exchanged wheels and paint with 51 of Paul Cohen, but Paul Cohen's slingshot engaged off the exit of 2 and will pull the 3 of Jeff Dodson with him as they do enter turn number 3 this time by, and Paul goes back down to the end sideline, the shorter way around the track. Oh man, gets all sorts of squarely between McFadden and the 3 of Jeff Dodson, but no harm done. Still single file as we speak. Jeff Dodson, Mark McFadden entering turn 1.
Back up front, we have a new race leader. It's going to be the 14 of Jeremy Horn, as he got around Robert Burris. But here comes Robert Burris on the inside. They're in a drag race here into turns 3 and 4. Burris is going to take it. Horn is going to get into that draft. I think he might try a move here. Yes, he is. He's going to go to the inside over Robert Burris as they are side by side at the start-finish line.
Yep, looks like we're not going to have just a we're not going to have a special leader, or basically we're not going to have a guaranteed leader here tonight, because once again at an oval, the draft plays a very, very key role. At the exact same time, a win is never guaranteed for anybody. It's all about being at the right place at the right time, timing it right, like you had seen right there. Barras was timing it right, trying to take back the race lead away from the 14 of Jeremy Horn, but Horn was able to lead this lap number 12, this time by, and is still trying his best to hold off Robert Barras, but Robert Barras gets the high line advantage off the exit of turn 2 and does claim successfully, entering turn 3.
Yeah, Jeremy Horn gets back there in the draft. He doesn't want to make sure he doesn't lose it. Meanwhile, Charles Smith and Stephen Leffler sitting there 3rd and 4th watching. Paul Cohen, he's back there in 5th, but he's got Jeff Dodson, Mark McFadden, Mark Kochik, and Jim Whaley Jr. back there just ready to pounce.
Oh yes, he does, and Mark Kochik right now approaching the back of the 48 of Mark McFadden. McFadden drafting off the 3 of Jeff Dodson. It's just a draft fest all over the place here tonight, as we can see all the way back from Robert Barras, the back of the pack, the 37 of Ronald Vincent. Ronald Vincent right now side by side with the 46 of Jim Whaley Jr. And Ronald Vincent did get loose off the exit of turn 4, top the apron. The white line is never your friend. The apron is not your friend. And right now here, Ronald Vincent trying to draft off the 46 of Jim Whaley Jr. But these guys are about 1.8 seconds, 1.8 to 1.9 seconds behind their next pack, or the next victims, or their next friends in this case. Because once again, with the draft, everybody is your friend. until it comes to lap number 141, which is right after, sorry, 124, which is right before the white flag. So with that said, everyone's your friend until then. And as we speak here, Ronald Vincent trying to draft off the 46 of Jim Whaley Jr. as we speak, but so far they are still losing a lot of time as we speak, because they are a little bit too far out of the draft of Mark Koshik, McFadden, and Jeff Dotson.
Yeah, going back up front though, we got a battle still ruin here against Jeremy Horn and Robert Burris. They are coming side by side out of turn number 4. It's a drag race to the start finish line. I think Robert Burris is going to lead that lap.
Yep, Robert Burris does lead that lap successfully, and now Horn will back it down right now, trying to set him up right. Looks like the best way to be successful, take over the race lead, in this case for Jeremy Horn, would to just pretty much stay behind Robert Burris for now and get a good run off the exit of turn 4, off the rear end of Robert Burris. But looks like Horn did back it down way too much, and Robert Burris will still maintain the race lead here this time by on lap number 17, and Stephen Leffler now approaching the back bumper of the 14 of Jeremy Horn with the help of the 13 of Charles Smith.
Yeah, good battle brewing up here front here, Sean.
A great battle indeed, and as we see right now, Charles Smith is falling off the pace quite a bit, but 72 of Stephen Leffler going for the inside line of Jeremy Horn for second place, but it looks like his machine does push up that arrow push we talked about, and that will cost him a lot of time and one spot and all his speed and momentum. He goes from 3rd place to 4th place in only one turn. Yep, the inside line is not the place to be. Well, it is the place to be only in the turn. We see these drivers arcing it from the outside to the inside line, and all the drivers who are arcing it or going in from the inside to the inside are not having a great time. They're having to lift like we had seen there early on. We had the 3 of Jeff Dotson, including the 46 of Jim Whaley Jr. Those drivers almost fell victim to the apron and the pushiness or the tightness of the machines on the inside line due to a wrong entrance or a wrong arc. Oh man, Stephen Leffler taps the apron, goes sideways off the exit of 2. Oh man, that was almost ugly, but nice save by Leffler. We are still green and clean.
Well, we're going to have to go up back on the Dre broadcast and replay. We're going to focus on Stephen Leffler. Let's take a look here at that driving skill. As we are looking here at Stephen Leffler, he was off the pack a little bit, but as you said, he got out on that apron there as he's coming through the turn. Just arced it in a little too much. Yeah, he got a little squiggly there off the turn too.
And one thing with these machines, the Indy cars, you cannot counter-steer them as easily as you would a cup car or a truck or something along those lines. Basically, a non-open wheel machine, you cannot counter-steer it as good as you could one of those other machines. So that was a heck of a save by Stephen Leffler. He let that machine pretty much correct itself, and patience is what it took. And that was very successful on the part of Leffler. And speaking of Leffler, he is about 1.7 seconds behind the draft of the 13 of Charles Smith, which is a little bit of draft. He is getting some draft from Charles Smith, but because Charles Smith is very close to Jeremy Horn and Robert Burris, that means they will pull away from him here before too long. The draft is stronger among them than it is between Charles Smith and Stephen Leffler. 3rd place and 4th place drivers. Yep, the gap just went up to 1.9 seconds. So he is now out of the draft range. Last time I checked, the draft range was about 1.8 seconds, but that could have changed with the updates going on here on iRacing. So we are going to find that out here in the next upcoming weeks with the new build. And for the back here in the pack, 48 of Mark McFadden was able to pull away from 51 of... Oh man, McFadden goes sideways off the track. Oh, in the grass he goes. The green flag stays out. All speed, momentum, and spots lost by 48 of Mark McFadden, but the green flag still stays out.
Well, let's go back to the Dre broadcast and instant replay here. See what happened with McFadden. Oh man, he just... I don't know, that car just got real loose there. As we go back here and pull it up, take another look at that, see if we get a different angle here. But yeah, he just got real loose.
Oh man, yeah, that thing just snapped around the back and got upset and pushed the front end toward the inside line. And that's one thing that happens when these machines get light, start to get light, basically when they lose a lot of gas or lose enough gas, they do get light enough to get loose. And as we speak, 48 of McFadden going down pit road this time by with 24 laps on his tank and tires. And I'm very doubtful that this is the pit window. The pit window from my calculations is in between laps 35 through 40. So basically maybe McFadden decides to go down pit road to get a fresh set of tires and maybe a full tank of gas, and yep, he rolls off pit road with 7.4 second pit stop. That is 7.4 seconds spent down pit road. But because McFadden McFadden has lost a lot of time. He's lost double the time. He lost time saving the machine off the exit of turn 4. At the same time, lost time going down pit road after losing enough time off the exit of 4. But more drivers pitting in this time by Robert Barras going down pit road. Steven Leffler pitting in, including Mark Kochik going down pit road. So I guess I might have been wrong about that pit window. So pit window did start on lap number 24, which was the first time Mark McFadden went down pit road. And now more drivers going down pit road. Ronald Vincent down pit road. That's Ronald Vincent down pit road this time by. Drivers needing to pit in include Jeremy Horn, Charles Smith, Paul Cohen, Jeff Dodson, John Morgan, and Jim Whaley Jr.
Yeah, at the speeds of these cars, though, that's going to put Robert Burris a lap down. But he's got on fresher tires as he's right there behind Jeremy Horn and Charles Smith, as these two have stayed out and not pitted. I think Jeremy Horn might be coming down onto pit road. Yep, he is backing it down. He is coming down on pit road with Charles Smith.
And Dave, with these type of machines, these kind of machines, you do have to, it's very crucial, very beneficial at a track like this to pit in as a pack, like we see at Talladega or Daytona with the Cup cars, the trucks, the Xfinity series, the Xfinity cars, that is. How those guys always pit in as a pack to try and use the draft to their benefit, to their advantage. That's the exact same thing with these machines here tonight. The draft is very, very key. So that's why we saw a lot of drivers going down pit road at the exact same time. But drivers like 48 of Mark McFadden there, who had some bad luck before going down pit road. He will lose a lot of time before he gains it.
Yeah, I mean, well, we've seen Jeff Dodson. He's going down on pit road. Looks like he went 27 laps there, so, or 28 laps, so looks like anywhere between 25 and 28 laps is going to be the pit window, as we've only got 98 laps remaining here.
If that's the case, Dave, from my calculations, we're going to need 3 more pit stops. That is 3 more pit stops needed in order for the drivers to be able to make it the remainder of the way. 97 laps. Yes, 97 laps remaining here in tonight's race. So a lot of pit strategies will come into play before the race ends here tonight. But up front, Jeff Dutton is being shown as the new race leader. But Dutton is slow on the apron. He's now back on the track as we speak, and got overtaken as we spoke by Mark Kochik, Mark McFadden, Steven Leffler, Charles Smith. So Robert Barras is going to take over the race lead here before too long. Yep, Robert Barras takes over the race lead here this time by Jeremy Horn second, Charles Smith third, Steven Leffler fourth, Mark McFadden fifth, and Mark Kochik in the 6th place spot, rounding up the top 6 drivers. And that is every single driver. Well, as you said, the first round of green flag pit stops have been completed.
Yeah, so this will be a good time for us to take our first commercial break of the night. So we'll be right back here at Michigan International Speedway with the Roaring Thunder Racing League Verizon IndyCar Series. We'll be right back.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Pure Michigan 250, Round 7 of the Roaring Thunder Racing League Verizon IndyCar Series, brought to you by the Roaring Thunder. And you are watching this live on the Dre Broadcasting Network. And for all those of you that are interested in being a part of the action behind one of the wheels of these machines, the IndyCar Series or the Pro Mazda Series, just check out the Roaring Thunder Racing League at Roaring Thunder Racing League on iRacing to be a part of the action. On Tuesday nights, on Tuesdays they do run a Pro Mazda Series, and on Saturday nights, like you see right before you, they do the IndyCar Series, which changes between road courses and oval courses or oval tracks, depending on their schedule. So basically, they have some road courses and some oval tracks in their schedules. So once again, Roaring Thunder Racing League on iRacing. And this is the Dre Broadcasting Network. Welcome to the Dre Broadcasting Network. For the new viewers out there, returning or existing viewers, welcome back to the Dre Broadcasting Network. We are very, very glad to have you all. We do hope that you guys are enjoying the show at the same time. We're going back to the race. Robert Barras is still leading. Jeremy Horn second. Charles Smith third. Stephen Leffler fourth. Mark McFadden fifth. Mark Kochik sixth. Jeff Dodson seventh. Jim Whaley Jr. 8th, Poe Cohen 9th, Ronald Vincent 10th, and John Morgan in the 11th place position. And those green flag pit stops did really spread out the field even more than it was spread out before we had the green flag pit stops. So far here we have, let's see, Robert Barras has a 2.7 second lead against second place driver Jeremy Horn, and Jeremy Horn being shown about 11 seconds behind, or I should say ahead of Stephen Leffler. Yep, and Stephen Leffler right now has Charles Smith pretty much very close to him, right on his rear end here as we speak. Yep, Charles Smith trying to make some moves against Stephen Leffler. Actually, it looks like these two drivers might be working together for a common good, trying to catch up to those leaders. And with these two drivers working together, they can catch Jeremy Horn and Robert Barras in no time, because the draft is very strong. And speaking of that, Stephen Leffler, Charles Smith already behind Jeremy Horn. So these drivers together with a 3-car pack should be able to catch Robert Barras before the next round of pit stops.
Yeah, most definitely, as we're counting down these laps, guys, running 32, 31 second lap times. Running really good lap times here at Michigan. I mean, they are just hammering down these laps. As we see Stephen Leffler, he's looking to the inside there of Jeremy Horn. I had to back it down because it started pushing up, but they are coming out of the turn there. Unfortunately, with these guys racing, that's going to slow them down and let Robert Burris increase his gap.
Oh, indeed. As we could also see right there, because Stephen Leffler pushed, he tried to bring it back down to the inside line. Actually, ended up upsetting the rear end in the process. Oh, man. Yeah, that thing is very loose. Leffler, once again, getting very loose on the exit of turn 2 yet again. But nice save by Leffler. And he goes back down to the inside line. Maybe try and get back on the outs. Oh, he taps the apron, goes sideways again. Oh, Leffler having some difficulty keeping that machine straight. The machine seems to be very, very stubborn, but the green flag is still out, and Stephen Leffler hammered down. And for the back in this pack, the 46 of Jim Whaley Jr., 51 of Paul Cohen, working together for a common good at the same time. Ronald Vincent in the draft. These three drivers as well do have each other in sight in each other's draft range, and their speeds are over 230 miles an hour. They are on the straight stretches, and they are flying. And the last round of pit stops did start on lap number 24 through 28. With that said, the next round of pit stops is expected to be from lap number 54, actually 52 to 56. With that said, here in the next 10 laps, the second round of pit stops should kick in. Mark McFadden Dave is backing it down, going down pit road this time by Mark McFadden, actually changing up his pit strategy this time, going down 3 laps sooner, or 3 laps before he went down pit road during the first round of green flag pit stops. Well, keeping in mind that his first round of pit stops was most likely unscheduled due to him having some difficulty there on the exit of turn, or in between turns number 3 and 4, as a result of his machine kicking loose due to it getting way too light. Because once again, the more these drivers burn gas, the lighter these machines get. At the same time, the looser they get. And that is never a good thing. Especially when they're carrying that much speed. So basically, they get even lighter at higher speeds. So they get light at higher speeds and get lighter when they lose that much gas. That is a double negative. That is a big no-no at a track like this. And Mac McFadden exits pit road this time back on the track, entering turn number 3 as we speak on lap number 46. And now, most likely, everybody just might follow his lead.
Yeah, we're going to see right now our leader, 75, Robert Burris. He's led 39 laps here tonight. He is looking right about lap 23 on these tires. We saw him go down with I think it was 25 laps, so it'll be interesting to see how this is going to play out here, because I don't know if maybe he'll try to push it here a little bit. We still have 77 laps remaining.
We have still a long way to go, and once these drivers pit in, we're going to be having 2 more pit stops required in order for the drivers to be able to make it the remainder of the way. Now having 77 laps remaining in tonight's race, with every single driver except Mark McFadden needing to pit in. And Mark McFadden, fresh set of stickers, a full tank of gas. That machine is heavy enough to stay on the racing surface, and heavy enough to stay balanced and responsive, and not avoiding the rear end from snapping around like we had seen on Mark McFadden's part early on. But going back up front, Robert Barras now having a 3.5 second lead against the 14 of Jeremy Horn, and last time we checked on these drivers, he was about 2.7 seconds ahead of them, and that has increased ever since then. And one more driver Robert Barras going down pit road this time with 25 laps on his tires, actually 24 laps on his tires.
Yeah, it looks like the 72 of Stephen Leffler is going to follow him down on pit road. Jeremy Horn and Charles Smith are staying out here. Only 24 laps since their last pit, so we'll have to wait, keep an eye on them to see what their strategy is going to be.
Yeah, but it makes me wonder who will be, some drivers going to decide to run the tanks dry, because it seemed to me the first round of pit stops, most drivers decided to pit in together with other drivers in order to have the benefit of the draft. But so far, drivers going down pit road more solo than before. And Ronald Vincent going down pit road here this time by Jeremy Horn, the new leader, still going nice and strong on the racing surface, now having 25 laps on his tires, going on to 26 as we exit that turn number 4 here this time by, Jeremy Horn still staying out. And look at that, Charles Smith on his outside line trying to make some moves against him, but Charles Smith backs it down, entering turn number 1 here this time by. They're going to go single file through turns number 1 and 2 as they now catch up to a slow machine. That's going to be the 75 of Robert Barras. Robert Barras just pitted out. So Robert Barras does not need to pit in at the moment. They still have 2 more pit stops after this, but Barras will try his best to keep these guys behind him to avoid going 1 lap down before they pit in.
Yeah, most definitely. Still got a long race to go. It's still 72 laps remaining here of this 125 lap race here at Michigan, but they're doing a pretty good job caution-free so far tonight.
Oh yes, they are. And Mark Kochik now on pit road, actually now exiting pit road here this time by. So only the top 3 drivers on the lead lap needing to pit in, namely Jeremy Horn, Charles Smith, and Jeff Dodson. And some, yellow flies, caution flies, first caution on lap 54. It happened on the front stretch. We had 51 Paul Cohen involved, Jim Whaley Jr. involved, both drivers. Let's back it up on Jim Whaley Jr., see what happened.
Well, as we pull up the Dre Broadcasting Instant Replay here, Jim Whaley Jr. riding right in front of Paul Cohen Oh, it got onto the apron, and so did Cohen. And then Cohen just ran right into the back end of him. Fortunately, nowhere to go there for Cohen.
Oh man, very, very unfortunate for both drivers indeed. And to me, it seemed like Jim Whaley was trying to back it down, to put it down on the apron, to pit in, to go down pit road. That did not end up working out. I could be wrong though, but that was very, very unfortunate. But nice save by the drivers. It definitely could have been worse than it actually was. But here, this might be a good thing for some drivers and not so good for others. It might have caught some drivers at a bad time while they're on pit road. And as a result, we have a lot of drivers being shown one lap down by Charles Smith, Jeremy Horn, Jeff Dodson. These drivers still needing to pit in. Yep, Jeremy Horn going down pit road, including Charles Smith and Jeff Dodson going down pit road this time by. But Jeff Dodson already pitted in, so he is deciding to stay out here this time by and might take over the race lead the next lap around.
Yep, Robert Burris staying out there. He is going to take over the race lead here. As he was sitting in third position, so Robert Burris is our new race leader. As Jeremy Horn, Charles Smith, and Jeff Dodson all went down pit road.
And also, speaking of the drivers who are very happy to see the caution, yep, Robert Barris is included in that. If you remember correctly, ladies and gentlemen, he was in front of the leaders, Jeremy Horn and Charles Smith, including Jeff Dodson. He was going to be going a lap down if they overtook him, but the caution ended up coming out while they were still behind him, so that benefited him. And he will take back the race lead this time by on lap 57. So that is very, very good to see. And this does give us time to get a race interview in, so let's focus on the 68 of John Morgan. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are being joined up in the Dre Broadcasting booth by the 68 of John Morgan. Get up there, John.
How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Pretty good.
Man, tonight, this is your second race with the Roaring Thunder Racing League Verizon Indy Car Series. How's the race going so far?
For me, it's a little slow because I'm at the back, except for this particular moment. But yeah, it's been fun. It's a good group.
Oh, 10-4, brother. And how's the machine treating you, man? Is it responsive?
I haven't hit the wall, so it's treating me good.
Oh, copy that. Very, very glad to hear. And John and I talked about how this is your second race with the Roaring Thunder Racing League this season. With that said, man, should we expect to see more of you?
I hope so. I enjoy it.
Oh, that is very, very good to hear, man. Well, John, we are now seeing your appearance here in with all sorts of traffic. So look forward to seeing you back up here with everybody else, and also most importantly, getting your lap back before the race is over here tonight. But any final words before I let you go? Any shout-outs you'd like to give?
Yeah, just thanks to Pat for putting this together. It's and the guys. It's a great group.
Well, John, stay alive, get your laps back, and see you in Victory Lane here tonight for a second race of the season. Have a good one, buddy. Have a good one.
Thank you.
And that was 68 of John Morgan here. He is currently in the 8th place spot, one lap down. He did decide to stay to go down pit road because he had not yet pitted in. He could have gotten his lap back, but since he had not pitted in, he was most likely going to run out of gas in 1 or 2 more laps. And that was not going to be a good thing. But we are now back 1 to green here this time by, still being led by Robert Barris behind the pace car. Single file restarts. And that green flag flies. Robert Barris does not hesitate. Great restart by Barris. Jeremy Horn right behind him, all over his rear end, entering turn 1, gonna go to his inside. Yes, Jeremy Horn not carrying enough speed to push up into the 75 of Barris, and does clear him successfully on the exit of turn 2. And Barris for now takes over the race lead before turn number 3. Jeremy Horn here, new race leader here this time by on the exit of turn 4. Barras does drift high, and Charles Smith behind them. Actually, that's going to be the 46 of Jim Whaley Jr. watching the battle between Robert Barras and Jeremy Horn. And yes, Jeremy Horn, new race leader here this time by on lap 5.9.
Yeah, most definitely here is looking at Joe White there in the chat. Only 67 laps to go, but Jeremy Horn, he's trying, he wants to win this race. He doesn't want to see Robert Burris come away with another win there, Sean.
Oh no, he does not. He is trying to break that streak. And Joe White, welcome buddy, welcome back with us. And that's Joe White with the Online Sim Racing Network. Hope you're doing good. Click, click, click. And 51 of Poco. Oh man, Poco and getting very, very flirty with the wall. And as a result, he does lose all his speed and momentum and one spot to the 46 of Jim Whaley Jr. Unfortunately, oh man, that's very unfortunate for Poco. And because he tapped the wall like he did, these machines seem to be a little bit too fragile. At the same time, I mean, because of that, he will lose a lot of speed, and the machine is suffering now. It is struggling to get back up to speed. As we can see right now, it is dragging. He goes down to the apron to let the faster traffic by, and no harm done.
Yeah, it looks like he's got a little bit of damage there, so, I mean, it's just kind of slowing him up, but meanwhile up front, Jeremy Horn's still doing a good job of holding off Robert Burris. Burris just is not able to, you know, to get down underneath and clearing.
And looking right now, third place in line, the 46 of Jim Whaley Jr. Jim Whaley Jr., first driver, one lap down, trying to get his lap back the hard way. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, the IndyCar Series, no lucky dogs whatsoever. The only option you have is to get your lap back the hard way by overtaking the leaders. That's exactly what Whaley Jr. is trying to do. And his best bet right now, if he does not overtake the leaders, is to have an excellent next round of green flag, excellent pit stop next time around to try and better his chances. And something tells me he'll be able to do just that. He is drafting quite well behind the leaders so far. And Robert Barras to the inside of Jeremy Horn gets a run successfully, but the machine does push up. Nope, he will arc it nice and high on the outside on the exit of turn number 4. But Jeremy Horn is a big run in the back bumper of him. But nope, Robert Barras still maintains the lead, or takes over the race lead here this time by, but Horn to the inside, entering turn 1. That is some great leapfrogging action going on so far. 13 of Charles Smith now drafting off 46 of Jim Whaley Jr. Trying his best to catch up those race leaders and poke his nose into the existing battle. And as we speak, for the back in this pack, the 48 of Mark McFadden, Stephen Leffler, Mark Kochik, these guys being shown 2.2 to 2.5 seconds behind the leaders. And we had just completed our first round, well, our second round of pit stops taking place there under caution. There about, that was 10 to 20 laps ago, just depending on when the drivers pitted in. So with that said, the next round of pit stops is expected to be in between laps number 83, laps number 80 through 84. So here in the next 10 to 15 laps, the next round of pit stops will kick in.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for another commercial break from our sponsors, so we'll be right back as we bring you the rest of the action here from Michigan International Speedway with the Roarin Thunder Racing League Verizon IndyCar Series. We'll be right back.
Don't let your first date be your last. Visit People Against Distracted Driving at PADD.org.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Pure Michigan 250, Round 7 of the Roaring Thunder Racing League Verizon IndyCar Series, brought to you by the Roaring Thunder Racing League. And for all those interested in being a part of the action with the Roaring Thunder Racing League, just check them out on iRacing at Roaring Thunder Racing League. On Tuesday nights, they run an open-wheel Pro Mazda series, and on Saturday nights, like you see right before you, the IndyCar series that goes to both ovals and road courses. So you guys can join either of those, or maybe both, even both of those series, based on your preferences, or if you like, or based on your schedule. So once again, that's Roaring Thunder Racing League on iRacing. And you are watching the Dre Broadcasting Network here tonight, and as usual, I am Sean Zulu and David Everly behind the cameras, and being my right-hand man here tonight at Michigan International Speedway with the Roaring Thunder Racing League. And also just a reminder for next week, well, the next 2 weeks with Roaring Thunder is taking 2 off weeks next week and the week after that. So the next race with Roaring Thunder is going to be on December 9th, round 8 at Texas Motor Speedway for the Texas 186. That's Texas Motor Speedway, round 8, December 9th. So no races for the next 2 weeks with the Roaring Thunder Racing League. But going back here to tonight's race, Robert Berra still leading, Jeremy Horn 2nd, Charles Smith 3rd, Mark Kochik 4th, Steven Leffler 5th, and that is rounding up the top 5. And here before too long, green flag pit stops should kick in. Yes, they should. That's going to be our third, that will be our third pit stop of the evening right there once those start coming into action or into play. We have 49 laps remaining and the pit window in the next 5 to 10 laps. The pit stops will kick in. Well, we have some drivers here who have all the way from 19 to 28 laps on their tires. But some laps were run under caution, but some drivers still going down pit road. Mark Kochik pitting in this time by, and Mark McFadden pitted in not too long ago, which was 4 laps ago. Yes, Mark Kochik going down pit road with 25 laps on his tires. Make that 24 laps on his 24 laps on his tires, because we had at least 2 caution laps on those tires and tank. So, but going back up from Robert Barras now being shown with 28 laps on his tires. Yep, Barras going down pit road here this time by for his pit stop.
I don't know, Sean. I think he may have entered pit road a little too fast.
That's a very, very good point. Let's see. I'm gonna try and back it up here and see if whether or not he sped.
Yeah, we're gonna do that on the replay too. We're gonna see if maybe he got caught speeding on the entrance of pit road here. Looks like right there. I think he did. I think he came in a little too hot. No, he didn't get a penalty, so apparently he didn't.
Yep, pit road speed is 55 miles an hour. He entered pit road doing 58, so 3 miles over, but he was able to back it down in time before getting penalized. Well, in time to not get penalized. So, yep, great job by Robert Barras. But Dave, that's a very good thing for Robert Barras because he gained a lot of time against everybody. And Steven Leffler now going down pit road here this time by, yep, Leffler going down pit road with 30 laps on his tires and tank. And Jeremy Horn, Charles Smith, Jeff Johnson still deciding to stay out this time by. And these 3 drivers last round of pit stops were the last 3 to stay out. So they're doing the exact same thing this time around as well. And Jeff Dodson here this time by being shown 12 seconds behind the leaders, but is very, very close. And in the draft of 51 of Paul Cohen. Paul Cohen here being shown 2 laps down. Paul Cohen had some bad luck where he had to he hit the wall on the exit of turn number 2. Yeah, that was, I know that was turn 3, I believe. Yeah, that was turn 3, but he had to go down pit road to get a brand new machine. Which did cost him a lot of time, and also got involved into in an incident there that brought the caution at that one time. So he went 2 laps down as a result, and right now he's trying his best to just put on as many laps as he can and make up as much time as he possibly can, and hoping to get both his laps back before the race is over tonight.
Yeah, still gonna need one more pit stop as we got 43 laps to go.
Yep, one more required pit stops with some drivers still needing to pit in. Well, the majority of the field needing to pit in, yes. Jeremy Horn, Charles Smith, Jeff Dodson, Jim Whaley Jr., John Morgan, Paul Cohen. These drivers still needing to go down pit road. And some drivers already feeling the effects of the lighter machine, including the older tires. Namely Paul Cohen. Paul Cohen's machine is getting very, very loose. He keeps having to let off the gas to try and keep the machine stabilized. But so far, no harm to Paul Cohen. Well, a little bit of harm is being done to the lap times. And Jeremy Horn pitting in here this time by, yes, Jeremy Horn, 29 laps on his tires, but Charles Smith deciding to stay out. Jeff Dodson staying out as well, now having 29 laps on his tires. So that now leaves us with only 2 drivers on the lead lap needing to pit in, namely Jeff Dodson and Charles Smith. Actually, Charles Smith going down pit road this time by for his green flag pit stop. And now Jeff Dodson goes down pit road, and that now rounds up the... Actually, we still need one more driver to pit in. That's going to be the 51 of Paul Cohen. Yes, Paul Cohen has not yet pitted, but once Paul Cohen goes down pit road, that will round up the 3rd round of pit stops here tonight. Oh man, Paul Cohen getting very, very loose still. Yeah, that machine has the handling has changed quite a bit. Once again, it is very, very it's much lighter than it was before, because it has lost a lot of gas. It has burnt a lot of gas, but everybody on the lead lap has pitted in at this time.
Yes, we're down under 40 laps to go. Robert Burris has been on point, leading 55 laps here tonight. Jeremy Horn leading 24, Charles Smith leading 5 laps, and Jeff Dodson leading 2.
Yep, congrats to all those drivers leading some laps here tonight. And something tells me we're gonna see a lot more lead changes to come. So stay tuned and fingers crossed for that. The draft working against a lot of drivers. Pretty much working against everybody and with everybody at the exact same time. As Paul Cohen tries his best to still manhandle the machine. And if we can, let's ride with the 51 of Paul Cohen and see exactly how he's handling the machine. Yep, you can see him, he is having difficulty keeping one race groove. That machine is also sorts of squirrely. And looking at Paul Cohen's stats, he had been on pit road 27 laps ago. Oh man, he taps the apron, goes up the track, backs it down, going down pit road here this time by. Oh man, that could have been ugly. Nice save by Paul Cohen, and pitting in this time by. And that rounds up the 3rd round of pit stops here tonight at the Pure Michigan 250.
Well, unfortunately, we're still going to have to see one more, as these guys have gone 30 laps, but we're still 36 laps to go, so we're still going to have to see one more round of pit stop.
Yep, and when it comes to the last round of pit stops, these drivers have a lot of flexibility when it comes to pit strategy. With that said, they can go in as soon as the pit window opens, which is going to be in about 12 laps from now. So yes, in 12 laps, these drivers can pit in, and in 12 laps from now is going to be lap number 100. So on lap 100, the pit window will open, and these drivers can choose to pit in or decide to pit in. But some might go down pit road, or might choose to run the tanks dry, or maybe just go down pit road as soon as everybody else starts going down pit road, pretty much following, doing what the majority of the field does. So you're going to see a lot of different pit strategies coming into play with the last round of pit stops. Like we had seen there in the past, some drivers have tried to short pit and pretty much just have 2 pit stops instead of 3 pit stops. That has never worked out for anyone just yet. The last time we had checked, the drivers were able to only go to be 2 laps short. Well, sorry, I can't think. I can't speak. I do apologize. But last time we had checked, the drivers who tried that ended up being 2 laps short at the very end of the race. So basically, nobody has ever tried to short pit and be successful doing it. But going back up front, Robert Berra still leading now, having a 3.7 second lead against 14 of Jeremy Horn, second place driver.
Yeah, he's got a really good lead here as we're cutting down these final laps here. As you said, lap 93 of 125, 33 laps to go. So probably within here in the next 10 laps, we should start seeing last round of green flag pit stop.
And those pit stops did definitely spread out this field even more. As we speak right now, we have a lot of drivers. Oh, the field is pretty much all spaced out. But at the same time, we have Mark Kochik. Mark Kochik is in the draft of the 72 of Steven Leffler. Mark Kochik not a threat to Steven Leffler, because Kochik is being shown 2 laps down, while Steven Leffler is on the lead lap, being shown about 5 seconds behind his next victim for position, which is the 14, or who is the 14 of Jeremy Horn. At the same time, Leffler is about 8.5 seconds, 8.5 seconds behind the leader, 75 of Robert Barris. So he does have quite a little bit of work to do, or some work to do, to catch up to the race leader there up front. And scanning the rest of the field, here we have just Ronald Vincent, 37 of Ronald Vincent here behind Charles Smith, very, very close in his draft range. So these 2 drivers could work together for a common good and catch up to their next victims. Well, ladies and gentlemen, with only 30 laps remaining, gonna take another commercial break here before next round of pit stops kick in. So stay tuned, please. We'll be right back. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Pure Michigan 250, Round 7 of the Roaring Thunder Racing League Verizon IndyCar Series, brought to you by the Roaring Thunder Racing League. And for all those interested in being a part of the action, meaning you want to become a driver with the Roaring Thunder Racing League, you can check them out at Roaring Thunder Racing League on iRacing. On Tuesday nights, they run a Pro Mazda series. That's a Pro Mazda. That's open wheel as well. And on Saturdays, like you see right before you, they do the IndyCar series, which alternates between, or they have both road courses and oval tracks throughout the whole entire season. So you guys can join any of the series or both series based on your time and preference at the exact same time. And you are watching this live on the Dre Broadcasting Network. Hope you guys are enjoying the show out there tonight. And thank you very much for tuning in once again. Well, the pit window, as expected, has opened. We are on lap 105. 5 laps into the pit window, I should say. 5 laps after the pit window had opened up, and we already have some drivers go down pit road. We had let's see here, Jim Whaley Jr. already went down pit road. Jim Whaley Jr. went down pit road. Robert Barras went down pit road as well. Mark McFadden, Jeff Dodson, but so far still needing to pit in Jeremy Horn, Stephen Leffler, Charles Smith, John Morgan, Mark Kochik, and Paul Cohen still needing to pit in, but one of those drivers going down pit road here this time by Stephen Leffler pitting in. And Leffler did give up the second place spot, and now Charles Smith benefits from that. And Charles Smith being shown 14 seconds behind the new race leader 14 of Jeremy Horn at the exact same time here. Let's see. We have Robert Barras just now exit pit road. So it's in a matter of time here before Charles Smith goes down pit road. But now Jeremy Horn gives it the race lead. Jeremy Horn going down pit road here this time by. And now only one more driver on the lead lap needing to pit in, namely Charles Smith. And Charles Smith going around one more time, lap number 109 with 17 laps remaining here tonight. And let's see, Charles Smith now going on to coming up to 25 laps on his tires and tank. And thus far he is feeling the effects of the machine's lightness. And as we speak, yeah, the machine is getting very, very loose, entering turn 1 and exiting the turns at the exact same time. So he might be going down pit road here before too long. Is it pitting in this time? No, he goes almost sideways off the exit of turn 4, but still deciding to stay out here this time by now having 25 laps on his tank. And Charles Smith approaching the, that's going to be 3 of Jeff Dawson, 72 of Stephen Leffler. Stephen Leffler right in front of him. And right now Charles Smith has found some draft behind Stephen Leffler. Here's Charles Smith going to stay out, he's going to go in because he is very, very loose. He is risking it. He is going around one more time. He does really enjoy the looseness. I mean, they do say loose is fast. He definitely is living up to that. And Paul Cohen down pit road here this time by, yes, Paul Cohen down pit road for his final pit stop of the evening. Well, Paul Cohen has been on pit road for over 15-20 seconds now. Something tells me something is not right with Paul Cohen's machine, because the pit stops we're seeing with everybody else who's not having any difficulty is around 7 to 8 second pit stops. And yes, Paul Cohen now rolling off pit road here this time by with a 30-second pit stop.
Our race leader, Charles Smith, he's down on pit road. So that's going to move Robert Burris. He's going to overtake the lead here as he goes around Charles Smith and crosses the start-finish line. So Robert Burris, our new race leader. Charles Smith still showed in second. Mark McFadden third. Stephen Leffler fourth. And Jeremy Horn fifth.
If this is gonna update here before too long, Barras officially taking over the race lead. Just now updated on the scoreboard. Hey, yep, Robert Barras now being shown about, let's see here, second place driver, cannot see any stats just yet. Gonna wait 1 second. Oh, Dave, looks like Robert Barras is about 15 seconds ahead of second place driver 48 of Mark McFadden. It is safe to say, Dave, if Robert Barras keeps up this rate, he should be able to bring this thing home unchallenged.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big gap to overcome here in just the 12 laps that we have remaining.
Yep, way too big. That gap is just way too big. And as we speak, Steven Leffler here, he's not too far behind Mark McFadden. Actually being shown about 1 second. Actually, yeah, 1.1 seconds behind Mark McFadden. So Leffler is in the draft range of Mark McFadden. And that is for second place spot. So McFadden does know that there's a big threat behind him. He will try his best to maintain second place spot. But with the way that the draft works, Mark McFadden just might become a sitting duck. We have Charles Smith being shown in 4th place. Charles Smith being shown 4 seconds behind Steven Leffler for 3rd place. And one driver on the apron, John Morgan. John Morgan going down pit road here this time by with 29 laps on his tires. Yeah, John Morgan going down pit road for his final pit stop of the evening as well. Here on the track, we have the 37 of Ronald Vincent. Ronald Vincent ended up losing one more lap while down on pit road. He is now drafting off the 75 of Robert Barras, the race leader up front. And this is a very good thing for Ronald Vincent there, Dave. If he overtakes the leader Barras, he should be able, or I should say, he will be able to get one lap back the hard way and be back to 2 laps down. So everything is working with Ronald Vincent, but against Robert Barras. And here for the back in this pack, the 46 of Jim Whaley Jr., first driver, 1 lap down. Jim Whaley got a piece of the action there. That brought one of the cautions. So he is out here trying to get his lap back the hard way as we speak. Oh, we have the 533 of Mark Kochik down pit road. Mark Kochik has been on pit road for over a minute. That is never a good thing. Actually, looking at his machine. Oh, yeah, that machine is damaged. Looks like we missed it. But yep, that machine has seen better days. It is missing the whole front wing and pretty much a lot of scratches on the machine.
Well, Sean, I mean, we're at the nitty-gritty here, just 8 laps to go. Robert Burr still leading 15 seconds over Mark McFadden. Then you got Steven Leffler, he's in 3rd place, but he is shown about another 16 seconds, or just a second there behind Mark McFadden. Charles Smith in 4th. He's about 2.8 seconds back from Leffler. And Jeremy Horn, sitting rounding out your top 5, he's 2.9 seconds behind Charles Smith.
Oh man, yep, those green flag pit stops definitely do spread out the field. And Robert Barras executing some excellent pit stops here tonight, which did end up benefiting him and giving him actually a bonus or a plus, because he was already leading a lot of seconds before going down pit road and actually made up a lot of time, so much time on pit road, which benefited him even more. But as we speak here, gap in between Mark McFadden and Steven Leffler is getting nothing but smaller due to, like we talked about, Leffler being in the draft range of Mark McFadden. The draft is not at its strongest, but it is good enough to pull Leffler into the back bumper or into the rear end of McFadden, because these things do not have any rear bumpers. And for the back in this pack, Jeremy Horn here so far having some clean air all the way around, with now only 5 laps remaining. And as usual, we do have a lot of very well-dressed, a lot of well-dressed machines here tonight, like we always do. And we have that 75 Barris Hellman's machine, the blue one, that is very well-dressed, Dave, as usual.
Yeah, most definitely, but he's pretty much dominated his race, leading 82 of the 125 laps as he crosses the start-finish line, giving us just 3 laps remaining.
Yep, just 3 laps remaining, and the closest battle we're going to have right now is going to be between Stephen Leffler and Mark McFadden. Oh, Stephen Leffler got loose off the exit of turn number 4, actually tapped the apron entering turn number 3, and the gap in between him and Mark McFadden will increase, or does increase. Actually, it looks like both drivers made a mistake. So therefore, that is going to be good news for Stephen Leffler. And the draft will suck him in. He's coming up to the rear end of McFadden at a very fast rate. So he's inside this time by entering turn 3. Yep, and Leffler takes away second place spot away from McFadden. And McFadden now bumped down to that third place spot. And this time by 2 laps left, 2 laps remaining.
I'll tell you what, 2 laps to go, Sean. We got a battle here. As Leffler and McFadden are now battling it out for that second position there. As they're side by side here as they're coming across, taking the white flag at the start-finish line.
Yep, Dave, that white flag is out, and Robert Barras here this time by entering turns number 3 and 4 for the final time of the evening of tonight's race. Gonna bring this thing home 17 seconds ahead of second place driver. Well, we're gonna see the checkered flag has now flown, but going back to Leffler, Leffler's gonna bring this thing home as well, because McFadden is a long ways behind him. Oh, McFadden gets overtaken by the 13 of Charles Smith. Oh, yes, he overtakes him, and Charles Smith takes over third place this time by, but McFadden trying to go for the third place spot on the exit of 4 across the start finish line. Oh, but didn't have enough time to do it. Checkered flag has now flown once again. Robert Barras brings it home for a 7th win after the 7th race. Stephen Leffler 2nd, Charles Smith 3rd, Mark McFadden 4th, Jeremy Horn 5th. We have Jim Whaley Jr. 6th, Jeff Dotson 7th, Ronald Vincent 8th, John Morgan 9th, Paul Cohen 10th, and Mark Kochek in the 11th place position. And ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be interviewing the top 3 drivers, Robert Barras, Stephen Leffler, and Charles Smith, so stay tuned. Well, Robert, the TV's all yours. You know what to do.
Well, we gotta get back there here.
That is a heck of a burnout, man, after a heck of a race here tonight at Michigan International. Well, Robert, you have won 7 of 7 races this season in the IndyCar, the Verizon IndyCar Series with the Roaring Thunder Racing League. How are you feeling, man?
As usual, man, I'm wore out. These IndyCars are, you know, they take a lot of effort to drive. And we were flat-footing it the whole time. So, you know, there's a lot of G-forces, there's a lot of steering effort to turn this wheel and hold that gas pedal down for basically 125 laps with a break here or there for a pit stop. So I'm pretty tuckered out.
Oh man, I can only imagine. And for you, it was pretty much seeing it was you seeing clean air almost all race long, leading the most laps of the evening. So congrats to you on that as well. And Robert, talk to us about the looseness of these machines at the end of the fuel runs.
Yeah, I was a little surprised by that. They would start off pretty neutral. Fortunately this place is wide enough, they had enough grip that you could run multiple lanes, so you didn't really have to deal with any aero tightness that's typical of these cars. And by halfway through a run, it would start burning the right rear off, it'd catch up to you, and it would pretty nicely rotate. It almost felt like being in a stock car, the way that they were rotating. So it was just a matter of being really smooth with all your inputs, especially your wheel. You didn't want to get the thing cranking on the wheel too hard on entry, because that would really screw you up the rest of the way throughout the exit. Just kind of letting it float up on exit, not pinching it down too much so it would come around on you, and it was just a matter of maintaining that. That it actually helped a little bit getting into the pits, at least I think it did for me. I tried a couple of practice stops during practice, and I was just locking the front tires up and sliding the nose towards the outside wall. But I hadn't done it on old tires or after almost a full fuel run, and so the car hadn't loosened up. So it really helped on the pit entry, the car rotating on that bottom, because you just hook that white line where it starts to turn yellow and duck down and be aimed up perfect to get on the pits and get all the speed you could.
Oh, most definitely. And when it comes down to, speaking of the pit stops that you performed here tonight, it looks like the practice you had in practice, or the practice you had on pit entry was very, very beneficial for you tonight, because we saw you at one point you went in way too hot pretty much every single time. But the one time we caught it on the Dre broadcasting replay, we went to look at it and review it to see whether or not you had sped, and man, that was pretty close. At the same time, you gained a lot of time doing that. That is very, very commendable. Well, Robert, congrats on your success here tonight. Win 7 of 7 races this season. Any final words for Lego, man? Any final words?
Oh, I just want to give a thank you to everybody at the Roarin Thunder Racing League, Jeff Dotson, everybody who organizes it, comes out and races. It's fun to be able to run with a group of guys. I know, after a restart, after the start of the race, we were really dicing in and out, at the front, and that was a blast. So being able to do that with these guys is awesome. Great way to spend a Saturday evening. And then you guys at Dre Broadcasting for putting it out for the viewers to see, and hopefully they enjoyed it. And anybody out there who wants to come and join and run with us, I'm sure they'd be happy to have you.
Well, congrats on your success there. On your success once again there, Robert. We look forward to seeing you again here in the next 2 weeks. Texas Motor Speedway. Go celebrate, buddy, and have a good break.
All right, thank you.
And that was 7th time winner, well, 7th win for him this season. There's 75 of Robert Barris, but next in line is 72 of Steven Leffler. Get up there, Steven.
Yep, man.
Right in tonight.
Not too bad. How about yourself?
Oh, doing good too, thank you. Well, Steven, tonight you had a heck of a race, a heck of a, I should say, a very, very eventful race, especially when it came to you and the apron flirting. Just about your experience, man.
Yeah, I had a blast tonight, especially the first 50 laps running up with the leaders. Unfortunately, I came down to my second pit stop, and I came in really hot, locking the tires. Like Robert was talking about, once you lock them up, it wants to go towards that wall, and I lost it, hit the wall, and had to spin it back around, but it was too late. I already had the speeding penalty, so I really got set behind on that. Luckily, the caution came out after that pit stop, and I was able to take the wave around. But besides that, I struggled really bad. The really late parts of the run, after about lap 18 or so on fresh tires, I'd lose it. Besides that, just trying to fight back, get back into it.
Oh, dang, 10-4. Yeah, that was a very, very eventful race on your part, and that is very commendable. You not giving up and seeing the bigger picture, and you finishing in the second place spot, despite going a lap down there early on. with very slim chances of getting your lap back. A very amazing race on your part here tonight. And Steven, tonight did the machine seem to meet your expectations? Basically, was there anything the machine could have done a better job at?
Well, I was actually looking forward to this race because I ran so good at California, my first race in the league, and it actually ran pretty identical to California, so I was actually very surprised. I was expecting to be a little bit off of time of day and stuff like that, but besides that, I thought the car ran amazing. I wish the tires would have held on a little bit longer. I would have had a little bit more for them in the first 50 laps or so, especially coming down to that second pit stop, but I enjoyed it. It was fun.
Well, congratulations on success here tonight, Steven. Despite your bad luck there in the middle of the race, but you were still able to pull through that, get your lap back the hard way, and come out in the second place spot with Charles Smith right behind you. Well, but any final words before I let you go?
Sounds good. Yeah, I've got to thank Jeff and everyone at the league. You guys in the broadcasting booth, you know, every week in and out, and then my family back in California.
Congratulations on success there again, Steven. Go celebrate and see you again in 2 weeks.
Thank you.
And that was 72 of Steven Leffler, but now next in line is a 13 of Charles Smith. Good go there, Charles.
10-4, gotcha.
How you doing tonight?
Doing all right.
Well, Charles, you finished in 3rd place last week, 3rd place this week, 3rd place next race?
Hopefully not. Better, hopefully.
I'll copy that. How's your race tonight, man? How's your race?
It was good. I had a lot of fun, you know, early on in the race, all the race, and I decided to not race after a few laps and just run behind them and, you know, save my tires.
Actually, we noticed that. Yeah, we noticed that everyone was side by side. Well, the 2 leaders up front were side by side. At the time, that was Jeremy Horn and Robert Barras side by side, 1st and 2nd. And every time you get around on them, just pretty much back it down and buy your time. Very smart strategy. And tonight, you ended up finishing in that 3rd place spot. Also, tell us about your green flag pit stops, man, you experienced tonight.
Oh yeah, well they were good except for the second to last one. I was about to, like Steven and Robert talked about, I was getting in, I felt it starting to spin, and I thought I didn't want to spin, so I just took the penalty and sped in pit lane.
Oh, copy that, man. Very sorry to hear about that unfortunate accident there, or incident that went on there for your last round of pit stops. And if you were to do it all over again, is there anything you could have done, you'd have done differently or better to finish 2 spots higher?
Probably pit a lap earlier. Maybe my tires wouldn't have been so bad.
Oh, 10-4, man, most definitely. Well, Charles, you still finished in 3rd place spot here. You did take the pole. You had the fastest time in practice. Very impressive. And you had one of the fastest machines out there running tonight at Michigan International Speedway. And that was nice seeing you work the draft and work with everybody around you and work against everybody around you at the exact same time, despite the draft working against you pretty much every single lap. Well, buddy, next race in 2 weeks is at Texas Motor Speedway. What are your expectations from Texas, man? What are your expectations?
That'll be a good race. I expect to finish in top 3.
Oh, 10-4, man. Well, congratulations on success there, Charles, and see you again in 2 weeks. And any final shout-outs you'd like to give before I let you go?
No, I just want to thank everybody for showing up, and thank you guys for broadcasting it.
Congratulations on success yet again there, Charles, and see you again in 2 weeks. Go celebrate and have a good break.
Thank you.
And that was 13 of Charles Smith. Rounding up interviews, Robert Barras having his 7th win of the season, or in 7 races. Steven Leffler 2nd, and Charles Smith finishing 3rd. And going further down this list, Mark McFadden finished 4th, Jeremy Horn 5th, Jim Whaley Jr. 6th, Jeff Dodson 7th, Ronald Vincent 8th, John Morgan 9th, Paul Cohen 10th, and Mark Kochik in the 11th place position. That was a heck of a race here by the Roaring Thunder Racing League Verizon IndyCar Series. Round 7, the Pure Michigan 250. That's the Pure Michigan 250. That once again is round number 7 with the Roaring Thunder Racing League. And the next race is round 8, the Texas 186. That's Texas 186 at Texas Motor Speedway. That is Texas Motor Speedway, December 9th. 2 weeks from now, because the Roaring Thunder has 2 off weeks coming up next week and the week after that. And 2 weeks from now, once again, is race number 8. Well, Dave, any thoughts or final words?
Yeah, it was a good race, great league. Unfortunately, we're going to have 2 weeks off, but kind of need the break. But I can't wait to come back from break and see what the rest of the season's going to entail for us.
Absolutely. And with that said, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys would like to be a part of the action with the Roaring Thunder Racing League, check them out at Roaring Thunder Racing League on iRacing. They do run a Pro Mazda series on Tuesday nights, and on Saturday nights an IndyCar series like you see right before you here tonight, like you had seen tonight. And the IndyCar series on Saturday nights goes to road courses and oval tracks. Depending on their schedule. Basically, they have both road and oval racing week after week, so you guys can join. That's Roaring Thunder Racing League on iRacing. I am Sean Zulu and David Everly behind the cameras, and thank you guys for tuning in tonight, watching live on the Dre Broadcasting Network. For the new viewers out there, don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you get notified every single time we go live, because we are live 5 nights a week. You guys are kept entertained almost every single day of the week. And the next broadcast we have will be after next Monday. And next week, Monday, we are off from Extreme. We're off all week next week, basically because of the Thanksgiving break. So next week, on Monday, will be the next race with the Extreme Motorsports 99. Thank you for tuning in once again, ladies and gentlemen. I am Sean Zulu and David Everly behind the cameras, and have a good night.